You know, Hezbollah is very smart. They're all very smart. The press doesn't like when they say it. You know, I said that President Xi of China, 1.4 billion people, he controls it with an iron fist. I said, he's a very smart man. And one of them said to me, Milley, he said, sir, it would be cheaper if we left everything. I said, where does this guy come? Where does he come from? A brand new airplane cost $128 million, right? I said, you mean you think it's cheaper to leave it than to fill it up with a little fuel and fly it the hell out to, even if you just fly it to Pakistan, then you bring it back home or you fly it back home. I don't want to tell you what I had to go through with these people. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life.
All right, can I just comment on this for a second? No memes, no gifs, just my opinion. Can you imagine the response from Republicans if Barack Obama stood on a stage and slandered top military officials? The thing is, you don't have to imagine. One, because we saw how those same people responded when he deviated from a black or blue suit.
This suit is not presidential.
What do you think about the brown suit, the beige suit, the tan suit?
Was it beige? Was it taupe? Was it cream? Was it khaki?
Or all of the above?
Stone?
It may be.
One of the ugliest suits in the history of America.
I think it was shocking to a lot of people.
Look at that horrible light tan suit. An impeachable offense right there.
I looked twice to make sure he wasn't a circus ringmaster. The only thing missing was the top hat.
Whoever talked him into going into a tan suit, they're so desperate because of these low poll numbers.
Only liberals could actually elect a guy with a tan suit.
And two, we all know what happens when a black person dares to publicly question any form of authority in this country. And the very same military that Mr. Patriot President here is insulting is then weaponized against said person. I mean, you remember this, right? It wasn't too long ago.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Yeah, I haven't forgotten when Colin Kaepernick dared to take a knee in peaceful protest against the unjust killing of black Americans by police, and after advice from an actual member of the military opted to take a knee out of respect.
And we ended up sitting down for a couple of hours and talking about this whole thing. And through that conversation, I expressed to him, maybe there's a different way to demonstrate where you're showing more respect for those that lay down their lives for what that flag and anthem stands for. Because to me, sitting just looks so passive, like you didn't care. You know, it could be interpreted so many different ways. But I thought maybe we could find another way. So through that conversation, we kind of came to sort of a middle ground together, where we agreed that I suggested, kneeling might be another way to do that, because people need to kneel to pray. They, will kneel in front of a fallen brother's grave. So that's how that all came about. And
I also remember that Republicans and Conservatives across the country demonized the man from the moment his knee touched the ground and cared not what happened to him or his career, as they lamented him as a traitor who disrespects the military.
Police and vets gathering in Chicago this weekend urging 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick to stand up when they played the national anthem.
Which brings me to Colin Kaepernick's asinine publicity stunt. Tomorrow, our flag will be flying majestically in stadiums across America, and the national anthem will be proudly sung, and this fool refuses to stand in respect of those heroes mentioned above, the heroes who died so that he can earn $19 million a year sitting on the bench.
That, we all know you have a right to do it, but you're still a jerk.
Those who sacrifice everything can be found on the ground in Afghanistan as we speak. U.S. soldiers fighting and dying to keep this country safe, fighting for a cause bigger than themselves. They can be found in the bravery and the courage of men and women that protect and serve, police, firemen, first responders, that run towards danger when we all run away. And they can also be found in graveyards all around the world, from Normandy to the Pacific, from Vietnam to Korea, all across the United States. There are millions of men and women who have really sacrificed everything for strangers they didn't even know. So the world, this country, could be a better, safer, freer place. There are plenty of heroes in this country that Nike could feature. But Castro, loving America, cop-hating, ex-3-year backup quarterback is not one of them.
But yet, here we are with a man who those same people label as a patriot, the same man who has slandered a war hero, saying that he likes his prisoners of war not captured.
He called them all crazy. I said, they weren't crazy. They were great Americans. These people, if you would have seen these people, I know what crazy is. I know all about crazies. These weren't crazy. So he insulted me, and he insulted everybody in that room. And I said, somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, you know, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Once again, demonizing high-ranking military members. And what do we hear from those same critics of a black man who peacefully exercised his right to protest? Nada. Nothing. Crickets. Because Republicans' respect for the military is nothing more than lip service. I've said this time and time again.
And Charlie mentioned Mark Milley. Here's what Donald Trump said about Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley after The Atlantic profiled Milley in a piece last week where he detailed how he had to protect the Constitution from the former president attacks, denouncing Milley for the U.S. troop withdrawal against Afghanistan while also taking on Milley's record and suggesting that General would have been put to death for communications with China. The communications Trump seems to be referencing to are reports that Milley called his Chinese counterpart after Trump lost the 2020 election to say he would warn China should Trump decide to launch a military attack.
I mean, look at what's going on right now as one Republican senator holds up appointments of military officials. Something the Pentagon and lawmakers who are opposed to Tommy Tuberville's actions have said it will create a trickle-down effect that is hurting military readiness, preventing scores of officers from moving to new jobs, either as nominees or staff members, and holding up pay.
Seriously impacting our standing around the world.
The United States Marine Corps deserves and needs a leader. The U.S. Naval Academy doesn't have a superintendent right now. There are numerous commands and units around the world that don't have commanders because of this senator. And it's not just about the generals and admirals. It's the impact on the troops below is very significant. You can't say that you support the troops and then play political games that get in the way of their promotions and pay.
And these same people who sit idly by as this happens and say nothing as their cult leader lambasts the military on the most public stage sought to ruin the life of a man who simply knelt to say, hey, police, can you stop killing black people?
I mean, ultimately it's to bring awareness and make people, you know, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, you know, this country stands for: freedom, liberty, justice for all. And it's not happening for all right now. These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be.
And that, my friends, is just the latest example of the blatant hypocrisy at the core of the GOP.
And one of them said to me, Milley, he said, sir, it would be cheaper if we left everything. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. What am I going to say? But Hezbollah, they're very smart.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.